Hello and welcome to another video, and today I'm going over the front line around Vuhledar in Marinka. So let's first look at the city of Marinka and what's going on over there. You have fighting around this school over here, and this school over here in the northern part of the city, and around this city council area in Marinka. So the line of contact is pretty close to Drewsby Avenue, although it's not on it at the moment. It's just to the east of it. Ukraine is still in control of this grain elevator, and Russia does have control of this farmland, and they're trying to push towards the grain elevator. Now, in Novomykhailivka, there was news of Russia entering the town on the eastern part of it, and some were saying that it fell, but this is premature. It is possible that there's fire control of the settlement, though, and that would sort of compel Ukraine to withdraw later on. But we'll get into that city later. In Pavlivka, we're seeing a situation where it's being enveloped from three sides. So first of all, there's an attack from Yahorivka, where the 810th Naval Infantry Brigade was filmed, and they're attacking over there. Then in Mikhailsky, there's also an attack going on, and also in this northeastern area where it's just south of Vuhledar. Yeah, you also have some fighting over there. And in Vuhledar, it's still under Ukrainian control, but Russia is pretty close to this road, which is supplying Marinka, Pavlivka, Vuhledar, all these cities around the front line. So, what's the Russian plan at the moment? What I believe is going to happen is you could see a Russian assault northwards towards Vodiane, and that would involve taking this coal mine over here and occupying these residential areas. And you'd also see an assault on the heights over here, which I'm highlighting, and the coal mine that is located over here. Because these two areas are pretty close to Vuhledar, and they're of much higher elevation, so you could see some fire control of Vuhledar, and then you could see a lot of like sniper fire and mortars and stuff like that towards the city. And then that would also disrupt the supply lines because there'd be no way to supply Vuhledar from towns such as Novomykhailivka or Kostiantynivka. You'd have to like supply them in from these towns over here, and that would just take longer than going through this road because you'd have to go like this. Um, in Pavlivka, it is very heavily fortified. Same thing with Vuhledar, so frontal assaults on the city would be very difficult. So, sort of forcing Ukraine's hand by surrounding them, or at least cutting off the supply lines, is a good way to force them to withdraw. And we can see the same thing happen in Novomykhailivka, where we have two assaults going on. From Solodke, you have an assault, and then you also have an assault on the eastern part of the town. And if you see an assault also coming in from Alexandrivka towards this town, that would also force Ukraine's hand in a similar way to what's going on in Pavlivka, and a more defensible front line would be around here. But I would see Russia try to occupy all this farmland over here in the open fields, and eventually that would lead to this contact line around Pavjeda, Kostiantynivka. The goal, I would say, is to occupy this chain of towns, which is parallel to Novomykhailivka. So all of these towns over here, Russia would probably want to take them over as like a long-term goal. And this can only be achieved by first making Novomykhailivka fall and taking Vodiane, and then pushing into these towns like this. And then they would secure their flanks by, of course, eliminating the threat in Pavlivka and Vuhledar. In this area, Ukraine does have some unit stations. So, for instance, in this town over here, Stivka, the 68th Jagger Brigade is operating around here, and also fighting in Pavlivka. Then north of Vodiane, this one, there are two Vodianes. And this one, you have the 53rd Mechanized Brigade, which was originally in Severodonetsk, but apparently it's now fighting around here. And the Idar battalion is actually a part of this brigade, interestingly, and they're also fighting around Pavlivka at the moment, and they have a lot of combat experience, so that could be an advantage for them. Now, the Russians, they have the 3rd Territorial Defense Battalion fighting around the Vuhledar area, which is interesting because territorial defense battalions and brigades and stuff like that, that's usually a part of the Ukrainian armed forces, but this is a unit in the Russian ranks at the moment, and they're fighting around here in the Vuhledar area. In Marinka, you have the 102nd Regiment fighting, and they've done a lot of contributions to the Russian side. They've advanced a lot within the city, taking over a lot of these blocks, which are very heavily defended, sort of like Pisky, in the sense that a lot of these high-rise residential buildings are being utilized to defend against Russian tanks and infantry and stuff like that. And then you could see a similar thing happen in Vuhledar, because Vuhledar also has a lot of these apartments. Look at all of this. These are very good positions for the Ukrainians to fire down on the Russians in the open field areas. And then in Pavlivka, there are less apartments, but it's just more dense in general. So it looks pretty similar to Novomykhailivka in terms of its design. And now, what's going on is there was some footage released from the Pavlivka Vuhledar area, which shows that there is fighting not in the cities themselves, but in the outskirts of the city. So there are trenches and stuff that are being overrun by the DPR forces and the Russian forces around here. And there were some prisoners taken. There were some strikes on Vuhledar itself. So it is really heating up after these areas were pretty the fighting here was pretty latent for a while, but that's starting to change, and it could probably change the dynamics in the sense that if Russia was successful with its goals around here, they could have a joint assault on from Marinka and from this area over here that they would occupy around Vuhledar and Pavlivka, and then reach the base of the Ukrainian operations in central Donetsk, Kurakove, and you already have the higher ups that are located in Kurakove withdrawing. They're retreating towards the Dnipro, that city. So that's already a bad sign that they could see the writing on the wall. So yeah, that's really what's going on over here. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.